Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
Yes! I feel like I've been waiting for this my entire life.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Jolly good fun. Jolly good.
Locking down the middle of the day.
America's favorite daytime fun show.
Live from the Raising Cane's studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Welcome in. Hunt Palmer coming to you from the Raising Cane studio downtown in the capital city on this Thursday, brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. Plenty to do here. We're working towards the weekend. Appreciate you hanging out with us. Braxton Rizzuto and Cassie Spazzali back there on the ones and twos. Luke Johnson will be here in 15 minutes talking Saints. I can get into some special teams talk with Luke coming up here in 15 minutes, but we'll talk black and gold as we do every single week. We know who LSU's SEC basketball opponents will be. We'll briefly discuss that. Pelicans didn't do anything. We can discuss that. Made one pick. Hometown kids. So we'll get into a little of that. Tennessee Vols are next up on our football preview series with all of LSU's opponents. Just have today and tomorrow. We'll do Tennessee today and Arkansas tomorrow, and that'll be the end of the line for those 12 opponents that we have previewed. You can also read about those over at louisianasports.net. So lots and lots to get to. Let's crank it up the way we do every day with our opening drive.
Welcome to the big league.
It's time for Hunt's Opening Drive. Presented by Fabry Chevrolet GMC in St. Francisville.
So I've gotten this question a lot. I got it yesterday. Every single Wednesday I go on the Shreveport sports radio show in the afternoon, Sports Talk with JJ and Bonsai, and they take some listener questions. And one of the listeners says, and I read the disapproval in the texter's voice. I didn't hear it, but I read it. Well, did you see the transfers LSU baseball got last year? Why should we think anything different of this year? Last year was the number one portal class. Who cares about this year? I heard the dismissive nature of the text, and my answer was, well, I have 3 years of sample size in front of that. It was really good with the transfers. I think that means something. I trust Jay Johnson. I think he's adjusted the way he's attacked the portal. I think the profile of the player that he's brought in is different. He detailed it. Jay Johnson did. He said, look, we chased homers. We recruited guys that had to sell out to get to the pull side to hit homers. They couldn't do that against SEC fastballs and breaking balls. They couldn't hit. We missed. Never going to happen again. That's what he said. He said it's never going to happen again. And then I look at the profiles, the guys that he's brought in this class, and I see guys that don't have to sell out to get to power. I see guys that drive the ball the other way. Bino Waters in the ACC drove the ball the other way consistently. Hit for a high average. Did not sell out to hit 23 home runs. Jason Wax did not sell out for power. He hit some home runs. He turned a Grant Fontenot fastball on the inner half out of the ballpark at the box, but he's hit a lot of balls the other way. Dawson Park did hit for some power and did not hit for a high average, but he does hit the ball the other way. And oh, by the way, he's a dynamic athlete that plays a premium defensive position, something the other guys didn't bring in. All that stuff is very, very positive when you look at the transfers that LSU is bringing in to this team. Also, don't take my word for it. Like, I'm here talking about it. Let's go to somebody who does this for a living. Somebody the ESPN pays to evaluate baseball players at the amateur level. Kylie McDaniel today came out with a piece, 2026 college baseball transfer portal rankings, and he ranked the top 60 players. The scale that he has is the FV scale. That's for future value. The top of this scale, for the purposes of this piece, is the 40-plus future value tier. These are guys that are projected to be first-round draft choices. He's got Ian Armstrong, who's transferring to Texas. He's not eligible until next year's draft. Nate Savoy, who's going from Clemson to Texas A&M. Jackson Hotchkiss, who's going from Washington to Arizona State. Those are the only guys he's got lumped in right now as first-rounders in the next couple of drafts. The next tier is the 40 future value tier. These are guys he projects from the second round through about the fourth round of the draft. Number 5 on this list total, second in this tier, but 5 total, is Bino Waters from Notre Dame to LSU. Kylie McDaniel basically projects him in this piece to be a second-round pick next year. Number 8 on this list of the best transfer players according to MLB scouting ability is Landon Hood, who's a 2028 eligible. He's the top 2028 eligible player in this list. Gonzaga right-handed pitcher. And then number 10 is Dawson Park. 10th. So 3 of the top 10. Waters at 5, Hood at 8, Park at 10. Not transfer portals, what kind of projection you're going to have at LSU. That's what Perfect Game, Baseball America, D1, those guys were doing, ranking LSU's class last year with Zach York and Trent Caraway and Braden Simpson and that crew coming in. They're talking about college projection. Kylie McDaniel's talking about the pros. He's talking about the draft. He's talking about big league potential. And he says that 3 of LSU's commitments are in the top 10. Incidentally, you go down to 58, toward the bottom of this list, Jason Wax does appear on this list. So this is a different tenor than last year. No one had Zach York as a top 2-round pick last year after he played a season at LSU. Same with Braden Simpson. Same with Seth Dardar. Trent Caraway has carried with him a reasonable draft projection based on his high school ability. He got hot at Oregon State. There's something there, but it didn't work out this year. And he's not going to be a highly signable player, a draftable player this year. And he'll probably play a 4th year of college baseball, to be honest. So this is different. These guys are different profiles than last year's transfer class. Don't take my word for it. I'll tell you. You can dismiss it if you want. But here's another. And I think it's fascinating. Sabino Waters comes in as one of the 4 best hitters in this transfer class. He comes in with a 2nd-round draft grade. That's Jake Brown-esque, right? Landon Hood comes in with a 2nd-round draft grade. That's what Anthony Ianson left LSU with. And Hood's got 2 years left. Dawson Park is thought of as a 3rd-round pick by this metric that Kylie McDaniel is using. Seth Dardar was never that. Braden Simpson was never that. Like, my line that I continued to use in the middle of this past baseball season and towards the end was like, it's difficult without a lot of film and data, just looking at the stat sheet, looking at a couple of YouTube or Twitter highlights, to discern a huge difference between Daniel Dickinson and Braden Simpson. Daniel Dickinson went to Utah Valley, and he hit home runs, and he stole bases, and he hit for high average. And Braden Simpson went to High Point, and he hit home runs, and he hit for high average, and he played on the infield. And one of them was a stalwart on a national championship team, and the other guy lost his job 3 minutes into the season. It's hard to tell the difference. But one of the things you can look at is that Daniel Dickinson was a potential Team USA lookout. Daniel Dickinson was thought of as a very draftable prospect, and Braden Simpson didn't carry that level of athleticism with him. I'm not telling you that I know for a fact that Bino Waters is going to hit the 21 home runs that Jake Brown would have hit if he stayed healthy, that he's going to be a 2nd-round pick, and that he's going to translate seamlessly into the SEC. I'm not telling you that is a fact. I'm telling you he's got a better chance to do that than Zach York. I'm not telling you that Dawson Park is Daniel Dickinson and is not Braden Simpson. I'm telling you that people don't think he is today based on draftable metrics, athleticism, bat speed. He's got a lot to learn. He's going to have to take more pitches. He's going to have to make better contact. He's going to have to cut his strikeouts down a little bit. But he already is athletic with great bat speed and premier tools. And you look at Wax, and I like his bat. I like the fact that when I turn him on, he's driving the ball all over the ballpark. He's hitting the ball down and hard. He's hitting the ball in the left center field gap to the opposite way. He doesn't have to cheat to get to his power. Now, I saw Zach York do a lot of that in the fall, and I have held my hand up about that for 2 months now and told y'all, like, I told you Zach York was going to hit a ton. I saw it in the fall. I really believed it, and I was wrong. And it won't be the last time that I'm wrong. I promise you that. But all I can do is give you my opinion. And then I can back that up with the opinion of people that do this at a higher level than I do. And Kylie McDaniel certainly does that. And he believes that the class that LSU has brought in is full of legitimate professional prospects. And what have you heard Jay Johnson say for 4 years in Baton Rouge? You cannot win at the College World Series without MLB baseball players. Now, we'll see what this Oklahoma team has. If Jackson Willits makes it, if Cord Rager develops into that, if the Mercurius brothers are big leaguers. I think there's a good chance they are. But you can't win it without dudes at the top. Coastal Carolina can get there. Why? Because they have Flukie right there at the top of the rotation. Cam Flukie is going to be a first-round pick, and he's going to pitch in the big leagues. Morrison, Sunbelt Pitcher of the Year, early round draft choice, is going to pitch in the big leagues. Just because they don't have 8 of them, just because they don't have Skeens and Cruz going first and second in the draft, they've got them. And you've got to have those guys. And Kylie McDaniel says that this transfer class for LSU includes them. And you can surround those guys with guys that aren't necessarily slam dunk pro prospects. You can have a Cade Beloso in there. You can have a Luis Hernandez in there. You can have a Michael Braswell in there. But if you're going to have Michael Braswell and Luis Hernandez in there, you need Kate Anderson and Anthony Ianson. And these guys are not slam dunk first round picks, but they've got that kind of pedigree that they could work themselves into it with a big year against the SEC. Look at what Daniel Jackson did last year, going from Wofford to Georgia, wins the Triple Crown, wins the Golden Spikes. He will be a first round pick. So this is just encouraging. I realize that everybody is going to go into January of next year guarded about LSU baseball's expectations, preseason hype, all that kind of stuff. And that is completely and utterly fair. You should have that level of skepticism after the shocking stuff we watched from March through May this year. Shocking. I was shocked. But I'm going to take all of this data and input it into my preseason prognostications, and this is different than last year. You cannot argue that. Doesn't mean the results on the field won't be different or will be different, but this part is different. The guys they brought in are a higher class of prospect. And prospects are just that until they've realized their potential. But this LSU class of transfer portal players looks better on paper than what LSU brought in last year. That's a big, big deal. They're not done yet. Had some visitors Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and I anticipate more good news to come. Hasn't come yet. I told you yesterday it wasn't coming yesterday. I told you Friday and Saturday was when I thought you may hear some bells ringing. Still kind of feel that way, but we'll see how things shake out over the next 48 hours over there at the box. Our Thursday show is brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. We will step aside. We will come back. Luke Johnson talking Saints next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Fabry Chevrolet GMC, FabryChevrolet.com, FabryChevrolet.com. The website is an awesome place to just kind of look around. There are so many great ways that you can filter through the inventory. There are tabs at the top for all the new vehicles that you can look at. GMC, Chevrolet, they're all there. You can look at all their used vehicles as well. You can look at a tab on that website of the vehicles that are priced under $20,000, if that's what you're looking at. Specials, there's a tab for that as well. They've got specials on new vehicles. They've got specials on used vehicles. Chevy has some special offers. You can also look at your rewards on the website as well. If you're looking to trade in your vehicle, you can look at that trade and use the financing tool to see what your monthly payment would be based on the trade your vehicle gets. There's so many useful tools on the Fabry Chevrolet GMC website at FabryChevrolet.com. And it just starts there because you can go check them out at Highway 61 in St. Francisville as well and get that awesome customer service the Fabry family has brought to Baton Rouge for more than 3 decades. Fabry Chevrolet GMC is the dealership. FabryChevrolet.com is the website.
Transform your living space with Lacoste & Young Remodeling and take your home from outdated to outstanding. Redefine your kitchen for the ultimate culinary experience or elevate your daily routine with a spa-worthy bathroom retreat. Our skilled team brings 3D modeling to life to ensure your vision becomes a reality. We believe luxury should be accessible and offer tailored solutions to fit your budget without compromising quality. So contact us today for a free estimate. Lacoste & Young Remodeling, providing perfect solutions for your dream home.
At Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer, we know you deserve value when you purchase equipment. Right now, take advantage of the powerful 3025E tractor for just $297 a month, with 0% financing for 72 months. Tractor packages with a trailer also available. Whether you're tackling land, property, or projects, get your job done. Don't wait. This offer ends June 30th, 2026. Some restrictions apply. Visit sunequip.com or stop by a Sunshine location today.
Sometimes you ignore the signs, even when they're right in front of you. Problem gambling isn't always easy to spot. Know the signs, set your limit. Learn more about healthy gambling habits by visiting us online or text or call for free, confidential help now.
The experts at Hood Dental Care want you smiling bigger and healthier than ever. New patients can get a healthy gums cleaning for just $89.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
Thursday show is brought to you by Sagrera Farms, Premium Angus Beef. We'll talk about LSU's basketball schedule coming up here in 15 minutes. We know the SEC teams at LSU will play twice. We know the ones they'll play at home. We know the ones they'll play on the road, so we'll get into that in 15 minutes. Let's talk some Saints now. Luke Johnson covers the black and gold for NOLA.com and The Advocate. He's with us on Thursdays. How are you, sir?
I'm doing fantastic, man. Thanks for having me on.
It's our pleasure. Look, I want to talk special teams here. I want to talk kicking. I want to talk punting. I want to talk returning. But before we get into that, is this team ready to prioritize special teams in terms of wins and losses and making a push here? I would argue if they're going to win a lot of games, they're probably going to have to win a lot of them close, and that may make a huge difference. But you may suggest they're not quite ready to push to win just yet, and that's down the list of priorities.
No, I don't think it's down the list of priorities.
Okay.
I don't think you need to be a contending team to want your special teams to be on point. Especially with this team, where the division is there for the taking. This is a team that hasn't been in the postseason in 5 years. They want to make it back. They want to win the division, and they're probably going to have to win a few games on the margins. I think that's why you go out and get somebody like Berrien Brown. And it's why after 5 years of mediocre punting, after letting Thomas Morstead go, you go out and get a free agent punter. So I think special teams is going to have to be an area where they take a big step forward, because I don't think they've been very good for a couple of years now. And when you think about those really great teams of the 18, 19, and 20, they were fantastic on special teams. I think they have to get back to that.
The reason I kind of framed it that way initially was because you could consider Charlie Smith still kind of a project. And are you willing to go into a season with something of a project? He missed 2 kicks from inside 50 last year. He missed 2 kicks from beyond 50 last year, and he was late to the party there because Blake Grupe got a long leash of missing a lot of kicks. But how do you feel about his spot as the kicker?
I mean, I think it's tenuous. I think he did pretty well. I think in his little audition last year, and he's clearly got just loads of talent, right? I mean, you've seen it in some of the games, but like I'm telling you, man, like these like training camp practices, like I swear this guy could hit a field goal from 70 yards, but like the big distance on your kicks doesn't matter nearly as much if you're super inconsistent. And I think he was more consistent than I was really anticipating last year once we got into the games, because it's been so hit or miss in practices. But they can't go into this thinking like he is safe, right? That's why they went out and got Tanner Brown, who is coming off an outstanding season in the UFL. And it's why they signed Mason Shipley out of Texas after the draft, and they brought Younghoe Koo in for a visit. Like they're going to take a look around, and if Charlie Smith is going to win this job, like he's going to have to win it. They're not just going to be like, we love your potential, because I think they've just been unsteady here for a while at kicker.
And Ryan Wright, they bring in as a punter, Tulane product, 6'3", 245. That's a full-grown young man in his 5th season in the NFL. I mean, we feel like that's the guy that they're going to go to here.
100%. Yeah, they've just, like I said, after letting Thomas Morstead go, I think Blake Gillikin did an okay job. But then they go through the Lou Headley experiment, and then last year with God, once again blanking on that. He was so forgettable.
Exactly, it's that time of year.
The kid from South Carolina. Look, this is just like they've just been like wandering in the wasteland for a while at punter, and it's really hurt them. They've had punts get returned for touchdowns because they were kicked in the wrong place of the field. They've been like bottom of the NFL in net punting average. Like they needed to go out and address it. Like they needed to commit a serious resource to it. So I don't know if Ryan Wright's going to be, a Pro Bowl, All-Pro punter for the Saints, but he's at least a capable, competent veteran back there, which is like more than you could say for what they've had for a long time here.
Of course, Kai Kroger, the name you're looking for there from South Carolina.
Like my brain kept wanting to say Kai Forbath.
One Kai is as good as another in this case.
Yeah, like I knew it wasn't Kai Forbath, and like the problem was it's just when he got into the game last year, it was just you just didn't even think it was ever going to be anything good. There wasn't even like any sort of wow moments where you're like, oh, okay, like I can see it. It was just bad all year, and he just like held on to his spot, which I never understood. But they just had like this like blind spot at punter for years now.
Do you have a name outside of Barryon Brown back there at punt returner that you think makes some sense, or is he kind of the leader at that spot?
I mean, I think he's the leader, both punt and kick returner. I don't necessarily want to say like his roster spot is like locked in. They've got like Ty Chandler who's done it in the pros. They've got other people on the roster who can handle it. Especially if they feel like they're in a roster crunch at wide receiver, because like as it stands right now, I think there's 5 guys who are going to be on the team no matter what. So you're talking about keeping a 6th receiver, really just using that spot on a return specialist. But like, I think he's really explosive. I mean, like obviously your listeners know what he can do as a kick returner. And I think that skill translates to the NFL. We've seen it over and over and over again. Guys who are good returners in college are often good returners in the NFL. Even really undersized guys like Barryon Brown is. So I feel pretty good about his spot. But I do think that there's going to be competition there, because it's going to come down to, can we keep 6 wide receivers?
I have not gone deep into the numbers on this, and I don't think we've gotten to the part of the calendar where we read some things about that, but where are we on the importance of the kickoff returner in the NFL based on the new rules? Have you looked into that at all?
I mean, I think it's growing, right? Like last year they changed the touchback, and we really saw that new rule play a big part in the NFL. I think it made Rashid Shaheed a more like a viable trade commodity for the Saints at the deadline, and you saw what he did when he got to Seattle. He didn't really impact the game as a receiver that much there, but he had some huge moments as a return man that kind of propelled them to the Super Bowl. So yeah, I think it's like I think the data backs it up without like actually looking at it in front of me. Teams were actually giving returners more chances last year because they didn't want them starting at the 35-yard line, and that led to more big plays in the return game. And the Saints had like one or two big kick returns. I think there was one Mason Tipton one where you almost took it back to the house. But generally, I think they were kind of behind the curve on returns last year, and it's why you go out and you invest in a player like Barry Brown, who in past years was probably not a draftable player, right? That's like an area they tried to kind of augment their team in the priority free agent after the draft sort of thing with the Rashid Shaheeds and Deontay Hardys, the world. I think that's changed. There's a definite value to having somebody like that on your team now that kick returns are really actually legitimately part of the game again. So good deal for Barry and Brown, because otherwise I don't think teams are going to be drafting a 5'9", 180-pound wide receiver.
And if you consider that, if you give an NFL team the ball at the 35-yard line and they get 2 first downs, they can kick a field goal. So like you can't really do that.
Right. Yeah, and if Charlie Smith gets the consistency issues figured out, you might not even need 2.
Yeah.
You get one and 8 yards, he might be in range. So I think that was a really big change. I typically didn't really care much about the whole field position thing, like what's 2-3 yards. When you're talking about adding it's just 15 yards further down the field than it was 10 years ago. 15 yards is a big deal, especially with the modern kickers. We've seen year over year, they're getting better at longer distances, and it's only a matter of time before you see people hit 70, 71-yard field goals.
As we've now kind of put a bow on this entire conversation, how do you feel about the Saints, where they are entering training camp from a special teams perspective, considering that they do have to work some things out with the competitions?
Yeah, I mean, much better than last year, just because they at least have one proven specialist. And I think I like what Barry Brown presents as potential in the return game. He's obviously a step down from Rashid Shaheed, what they had last year, but I think he could be special in that role. The kicker is just the one thing I'm a little concerned about. I'm rooting for Charlie Smith to be successful in the NFL, because 1, he's an A+ dude, and 2, he's really, really, really talented. I just want to see what that looks like when it's consistent. But I think that's still, until I see week to week proof, that's still going to be a little bit of a question mark for me.
Luke, we appreciate the time, man. We'll talk soon.
Yep, my pleasure.
He is Luke Johnson with NOLA.com and The Advocate, with us on Thursdays talking black and gold. I want to remind you about Swing Easy Golf Club in Baton Rouge. SwingEasyGCBR.com is the website. That's SwingEasyGCBR.com. But don't go to the website. Go to the place. It's right there on Segan at Perkins. It's hot out. It rains a lot of afternoons. Maybe you don't have 5 hours to play an outdoor round this weekend. What if I told you could play 18 holes in 50 minutes? A couple weeks ago when we were there, I got there a little bit early when we were doing our giveaway, and I was playing Cypress Point. I played the back 9 in 20 minutes. It's really not time consuming at all. Now, you bring 3 people in there, you're pushing to an hour and a half or so. That's a lot better than 5 hours if you're out there for a normal Saturday round. So if you don't have the time to pack in a round of golf outside, but you'd like to get some golf swings in and play, you can do it at Swing Easy Golf Club. The simulator's a really, really cool way to approach things. Plus, it's inside and it's air conditioned, which is very, very nice. So go by and see them on Segan at Perkins at Swing Easy Golf Club. They're online at swingeasygcbr.com. As far as my thoughts on the Saints special teams, Smith is intriguing. You found him in this program with Europe, and he's got that rocket of a leg, and he's a gregarious interview, as Luke was talking about. And I like a lot of that, but I worry about the misses. And he did miss 4 times last year, and he wasn't even the kicker for half the season. Now, that was child's play compared to Blake Grupe, who was missing every week. But you got to make field goals. And for this Saints team, I don't think it's the difference between winning the Super Bowl or not, but it could be the difference in like 2 or 3 games, and that's it in the South, y'all. 2 games is the division in the South. I would be really surprised if somebody ran off and won this division by 3 games. If there was a 13-4 in this division and second place was 10-7. That would really surprise me. I think the winner is going to be somewhere around 10 wins, and I think second place will be around 9 wins. So if you're talking about 1 or 2 games, that's such a big deal. And this Saints team, to me, doesn't feel like a team that's just going to be burying teams by 2 touchdowns, like the Breeze Saints in primetime in the Dome that were just wiping people out by 30, getting backup quarterbacks in the game. Like, if this Saints team is going to win 9 or 10 games, 6, 7, 8 of those are going to be in play in the last 5 minutes of the game. Well, you got to make your field goals. And because he didn't grow up playing in the NFL, and because it's just like there's something about it that just makes me a little bit nervous, as opposed to a guy who just grew up in this system and has been doing it. And you'd love it if you had a 36-year-old kicker that you really trusted, had a 29-year-old kicker that you really trusted. This is a wild card to a degree, and you may have to see what you got out there. There are generally kickers that are floating around in free agency. You mentioned Koo that they brought in for a visit. The Smith thing worries me a little bit. I think they've shored up punter. I'm confident they can find a returner on the roster. I'm concerned about field goal kicking to an extent. Hopefully Charlie Smith can do it, because you found an incredible asset there if he can. But it was a little bit rocky at the end of the season last year. So we'll see what the Saints decide to do when training camp rolls around. We appreciate Luke giving us a little time here on this Thursday. Brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. Step aside. LSU basketball knows who they're playing. I've got thoughts on it next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Lifetime Roofing, lifetimeroofingla.com, lifetimeroofingla.com. It is the end of June. That means storm season's really about to hit its fever pitch, and it's been quiet around here for the last few years. That's awesome. I hope it continues, but we know the risks that exist this time of year in this part of the world. So if you need your roof inspected right now to make sure it's in the best shape it can be, Lifetime Roofing is happy to do that. They'll go up there, they'll do the inspection. If you need a tune-up to fortify that roof, they'll do it. If you need a repair, they'll do it. If you need a new roof, they can handle that too, and financing options are available. If you get that new roof, how about it? Lifetime workmanship warranty. That includes the materials that are backed by CertainTeed, one of the oldest and most trusted names in building materials. They've been offering that since January 1st, and they are proud to do it. If you're looking for a local roofer in Louisiana, Lifetime Roofing needs to be the phone call you make. Check them out online at lifetimeroofingla.com, lifetimeroofingla.com.
Box combo for George. I see you, Luis. Food's on the way.
Please don't. Hey, you know you can use your hands, right?
Got those box combos for you. Raising Cane's chicken fingers. One love.
If your office is experiencing performance issues like slow networks, jammed printers, or disappearing files, Advanced Office Systems may be right for you. With powerful IT solutions, print management, document imaging, and security systems, they help offices regain confidence naturally. Side effects may include uncontrollable efficiency, smoother workflows, and a sudden burst of office joy. Say goodbye to those emotional breakdowns in the supply closet and get back on track with Advanced Office Systems.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has the new 2025 Ram 1500 truck with $18,000 off MSRP plus 3.9% financing for 60 months. $18,000 off plus the 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Hey everybody, Drew Brees here. Over the years, I've learned that the best teams are built on trust, preparation, and doing things the right way. That's one of the reasons I'm excited to announce that the Breeze Dream Foundation and I are partnering with Parish Construction and Roofing. Together, we are committed to helping families prepare for hurricane season. That's why Parish Construction and Roofing, the Breeze Dream Foundation, and WAFB are partnering to provide one capital area family with a brand new fortified roof. Visit WAFB.com/contest to enter the giveaway and view official rules and eligibility requirements. Because stronger homes build stronger communities.
After a decade of working in private duty nursing, I know how hard it can be to find compassionate care for the ones that you love the most. So I started Decision Critical, a premier concierge nursing agency, so we can take care of you wherever you are. Our highly skilled nurses provide exceptional care from the comfort of your own home with personalized packages for short-term, long-term, or even around-the-clock care. Visit us at decisioncriticalbr.com and give us a call today to get started.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. Propane water heaters are very cost efficient, and the savings are even greater with a tankless propane water heater. We all know that Louisiana propane is a safe and environmentally friendly fuel. So why not go green while you save some green? I'm Miss Louisiana, Gabrielle McLeod, and for more information, visit louisianapropane.com.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
Shout out Jonathan Carbo and his team at the Highland Insurance Group. They're online at highlandig.com. That's highlandig.com. Looking for group employee benefits, the Highland Insurance Group can help you out with that. They know it's a tough time right now. It's been a tough time for multiple years, if we're being honest. The market's really, really tough. If you've had really bad renewals on the benefits side for your business and you're really, really hurting from a bottom line perspective to offer the health care that you would like to your employees, call the Highland Insurance Group. They're not a silver bullet. I've told you that all the time. They can't promise you a 20% reduction. What they can do is take a look at your current situation and potentially offer a second option. That's what they do. Looking for health care, dental, vision, making sure that you've got your employees taken care of so that you can hire new employees, that you can keep the talent inside your organization that's important. Contact the Highland Insurance Group. Let them help you with your insurance. The Highland Insurance Group, they're online at highlandig.com, highlandig.com. All right, SEC basketball opponents have been made clear over the last 2 days. They do not have a schedule that's been made available to us. We just know who the opponents are. For those of you that are not fully aware of how the scheduling system works with opponents, every team in the SEC, all 16, have two permanents that they will always play home and away. LSU's are Arkansas and Texas A&M. So LSU, of course, will play Arkansas and Texas A&M home and away this coming basketball season. Everybody gets a third team every year, just one. And for LSU this year, that is Auburn. Now, as of 12 months ago, as of 11 months ago, as of 10 months ago, that was a really scary proposition because Bruce Pearl had Auburn at the top of the SEC and among one of the best basketball programs in the country. Bruce Pearl left Auburn and gifted his son the role. His son is completely unqualified for the role, and Auburn suffered for that this past year and did not make the NCAA tournament. Auburn should have terminated Stephen Pearl and went to hire a real basketball coach. They did not. So they're going to take the good coach's kid and try to run that back with Tahad Pettiford and company. We'll see what Auburn is. It's still a tough place to play, still a great arena, and still got a really good guard that they'll lean on. And, maybe they're better this coming year. But I would very, very much bet against Auburn reaching the heights they have reached in the recent past with Bruce Pearl under Stephen Pearl. I think that much probably speaks for itself. So that's what you know about LSU is that's 6 games right there. Home and away against Arkansas, home and away against A&M, home and away against Auburn. Speaking of Arkansas, they, of course, lose 2 big-time freshmen that were drafted in the last 2 days. They also lose Trevin Brazile, but they did bring in a very star-studded transfer and high school class, as John Calipari is going to do just about every year. A&M has brought in a very talented transfer class as well. Bucky McMillan has kind of put himself out there. They're spending some cash, so A&M looks like they're going to be pretty decent again next year as well. Now, let's look at who LSU brings to the Assembly Center this year. And keep in mind, I'm not going to pretend like I know how good all these teams are going to be. In the transfer portal era, you can just put a lot of these programs in a hat. There could be a year South Carolina's good, could be a year they're terrible, could be a year Ole Miss is good, could be a year they're terrible. Florida, I'm going to generally bet on. Nate Oates, I'm going to generally bet on. Mark Pope's going to have talent at Kentucky. But we don't really know, and I'm not going to pretend that I know. I'm going to watch, but I'm not going to pretend that I know. But I'll tell you that Florida's coming to the PMAC. That'll be the headliner. Florida brings back 80% of their scoring from a team that won the SEC last year. That's really, really impressive to bring that type of crew back. They've got an elite front court that decided to come back and play another year in college. So you've got a really talented Florida team that's going to be a top 5 team in the country preseason by everybody. They come to the PMAC. Ole Miss comes to the PMAC. South Carolina comes to the PMAC. Those two teams did not make the NCAA tournament last year. South Carolina was the worst team in the league, and it was a bad go for Ole Miss in the transfer portal last year. They were not very good. So those two teams come to the PMAC. Tennessee is going to have to replace a lot. Nate Ament was their best player. He was taken in the first round I guess today's Thursday, so on Tuesday night. But they come here. Texas will come here. So will Vanderbilt. So that's your home schedule. Florida, Ole Miss, South Carolina, Tennessee, Texas, and Vanderbilt. I kind of like the road schedule based on program history. You've got Alabama, which is going to be tough. They're always talented, and they always play their style under Nate Oaks, and LSU rarely wins at Coleman for whatever reason. But Georgia was okay last year. I think Mike White's an okay coach. I don't mind going to Stegman to play. I think that's an okay draw. Kentucky is going to be talented. They brought in a couple of big-time transfers at the end of the transfer cycle, and that's always tough to go play at Rough. But here are the last 3. Mississippi State, they weren't great last year, missed the tournament. Missouri was okay last year. They've had 2 good seasons and 1 really bad one under Kevin Gates. And Oklahoma, who was right on the verge of firing Porter Moser last year and lost a first-round pick in the NBA draft. So when you look at the road games that LSU has to play, I don't mind going to Mississippi State. I don't mind going to Missouri. I don't mind going to Oklahoma. I don't mind going to Georgia. I think those are pretty manageable. Plus, who knows what Auburn's going to be. So that's another one that you play on the road. I'm not here to make sweeping judgments and proclaim it a huge win or a huge loss. I think it's a reasonably neutral draw. It's not like you're catching Florida, Alabama, and Tennessee twice. Those are the best, most consistent programs in the SEC. You play all of them only once. I think that Arkansas A&M and Auburn are fine teams that you catch twice, and I think there are some away games that you've got a real chance to win in. I don't know what LSU's team's going to be, quite frankly. So it's hard for me to discern right now like what their strengths are and what their weaknesses are, where they could be susceptible to teams, where they could be where they could take advantage of teams. Like, it's just not like it was 6, 7, 8 years ago when I was doing Hoops with Hunt. You had a feel for the 4 starters that were coming back at Kentucky, or you had a feel for the 4 starters that were coming back at Auburn, or you had a feel for John Calipari's 3 5-stars that he brought in and what they were. Like, I don't have that anymore with the portal. I don't know what the kid School X brought in from North Texas is going to be like in the SEC. Like, I'm not going to try in June to proclaim that. I can go off of track record, coaching, and, recent history, and I think this is a fairly neutral schedule for LSU to draw. If you've got season tickets, here's who's coming to the PMAC. Arkansas, Calipari, A&M, Auburn, Florida, Ole Miss, South Carolina, Tennessee, Texas, Vanderbilt. You look up on Selection Sunday, who'd you play away from home? Well, LSU will have road games against Alabama, Kentucky, Gonzaga, and Houston. That's pretty salty as far as resume goes. So I don't have big sweeping judgments on it. Again, I think that it's fairly neutral, but I'm excited about LSU basketball in June for the first time in a long time. And I think that's a very, very good thing for those listening. Talking about Hoops with Hunt, we're workshopping at the moment. I think there's a better than 50% chance that does come back in November through March. We'll see. Again, we're working through some things on this side with how to best implement that, but I think there's a good chance that we'll see Hoops with Hunt this year. And I'm excited to talk hoops starting in November and hope that LSU can make a push to the NCAA tournament this year in year 1 under Will Wade. I've got a piece up at Louisiana Sports right now, louisianasports.net right now, that goes into what the 5-for-5 ruling means for LSU. And if you'd like to read more about that, you can over at louisianasports.net. Let's take a time out, come back and close out hour number 1 next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
First American Bank and Trust. First American Bank and Trust, FABT.com, FABT.com. Started up in 1910. It's been 116 years, and they've grown to 25 locations, and they care about the community here in Southeast Louisiana. That's why all their branches are in Southeast Louisiana. That's why every decision that they make on commercial loans, on personal loans, is made in Southeast Louisiana. That's why when you make a phone call to First American Bank and Trust, it's answered in Southeast Louisiana. That's just the way they do things. Don't think that means they're small. 25 locations means they've got the assets to help you out with your commercial loan. Looking for the house of your dreams? Work with First American Bank and Trust. Doesn't matter if you're just outside Baton Rouge, if you're down the bayou, if you're up by 12 all the way to Metairie, there's a First American Bank and Trust near you in Southeast Louisiana. Stop in one today or check them out online at fabt.com. First American Bank and Trust.
As a business owner, you're always focused on how you can improve the bottom line. Well, when was the last time you shopped your insurance coverage? Insurance Network of Louisiana can help. If you're a business owner, let my friends at Insurance Network of Louisiana see if they can find you better coverage for less money. They always offer exceptional customer service and partner with only the best providers. So check them out online today at lainsurance.net.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has the new 2025 Ram 1500 truck with $18,000 off MSRP plus 3.9% financing for 60 months. $18,000 off plus the 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Hey everybody, Drew Brees here. Over the years, I've learned that the best teams are built on trust, preparation, and doing things the right way. That's one of the reasons I'm excited to announce that the Breeze Dream Foundation and I are partnering with Parish Construction and Roofing. Together, we are committed to helping families prepare for hurricane season. That's why Parish Construction and Roofing, the Breeze Dream Foundation, and WAFB are partnering to provide one capital area family with a brand new fortified roof. Visit WAFB.com/contest to enter the giveaway and view official rules and eligibility requirements. Because stronger homes build stronger communities.
If your office is experiencing performance issues like slow networks, jammed printers, or disappearing files, Advanced Office Systems may be right for you. With powerful IT solutions, print management, document imaging, and security systems, they help offices regain confidence naturally. Side effects may include uncontrollable efficiency, smoother workflows, and a sudden burst of office joy. Say goodbye to those emotional breakdowns in the supply closet and get back on track with Advanced Office Systems.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. Look, back pain can sideline you from the things you love. That's why I trust Dr. Kevin McCarthy and the team at the Spine Center of Louisiana. Dr. McCarthy doesn't just treat symptoms. He gets to the root of the problem. From advanced injection therapy to minimally invasive surgery, they've got the expertise to get you back in the game. With 5 locations across Louisiana, including...
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
Love my conversations with Sean Sagrera over at Sagrera Farms. They just keep getting better at what they're doing, and it's exciting because they're right here just outside of Baton Rouge, and what they're doing is just amazing, and it can change the way that you buy and eat beef. They've got a process that starts with mating genetically superior cattle, and it creates an amazingly consistent result. And what he can promise you is that you're going to buy prime Angus beef if you go to Sagrera Farms. I was listening to the Supper Club chef who said that the meat they got last week from Sagrera Farms was the best they had ever gotten. And it's all based on the IMF scale, the intramuscular fat scale. And you're looking at select beef, which is bottom of the barrel at 1 to 3. You're looking at choice beef from 3 to 6, 7. And then at 8, you're talking about prime Angus beef, 8, 9, and north of that. And right now, on the farm, based on ultrasound that they've done through the veterinarians, you're talking about 14s, 16s, 19s, 20s. more than double prime at Sagrera Farms. If you'd like to get a quarter of a cow, a half a cow, a whole cow, stack your freezer, go in with some buddies if you don't have the freezer space and spread it out. You get ribeyes and fillets and flank steaks and picanhas. You get briskets and chuck roast, ground beef. It's prime. It's changed the way we eat in the Palmer house. We won't eat burgers that aren't Sagrera Farms Premium Angus beef. So contact Sean Sagrera. I'll give you his phone number here. And just change the way that you eat beef, the way that you shop for beef. Go to Sagrera Farms just north of town and get that prime Angus beef. Sean's number is 225-719-1723. That's 225-719-1723. All right, the Pelicans were rumored to do a lot over the last 2 days. They did not. They stood pat in the second round, made their pick, and went on down the road. And I'll say this. One, it appears the 2 draft picks they made, Queen and Fears from last year, are pretty good picks. That appears to be true. So you get a little bit of goodwill in that. And the story of this year's pick is cool because he went to St. Aug. So those 2 things matter to an extent. I will say my opinion on the process here is that it's flawed. Because I think standing pat in the second round, taking a 23-year-old who was a nice player for SMU, it just doesn't move the needle for a team that desperately needs the needle moved. And by doing this, all you're suggesting is, well, we can't really move the needle right now. We will move it, but it's going to take a couple of years. We've got these young 2 guys. They're growing into a role. We can't move Zion. We didn't feel we got enough for Trey, so we'll let him play a couple more years in his prime where we don't win. I wanted them to make a significant move, to go significantly younger. And you would have done that by trading one of these players in their mid to late 20s for draft picks and assets in the future. And instead, you kept those players in their mid to late 20s. You took a player that starts his career at 24, that's in the second round, that's kind of unlikely to help. And it just makes me look at it and go, yeah, that didn't do anything for me. Like, I don't mean to bash Jaron Pierre. Like, he played at Southern Miss for a couple years, and then Wichita State, and then Jacksonville State, and then at SMU. He took a red shirt in the middle of that. I mean, you're talking about a guy that was in college for 6 years. And at SMU this past year, like LSU played him down in New Orleans in the Smoothie King Center. I was there. But this year, you know, he had a nice year. He averaged 17 points. He dished out 2 assists. He shot it decent at 37% from 3. The year before that at Jacksonville State, 38% from 3. Like, a good player. He's a nice player. But he's about to be 24 years old. And he's a second-round pick. Second-round picks just don't help all that often. So it just felt like the Pelicans kind of did nothing. And when you look at the fact that they were relatively healthy this past year, and they were so bad and so far out of contention that just kind of running it back, saying, oh, well, we'll just get a little bit better. To me, it feels unlikely to work. And 2, what I know is it's not exciting. It's just not exciting. And so I don't mean to like rain on Jaron Pierre's parade when the hometown team takes you. And this really has nothing to do with him. It just has everything to do with the fact that I just don't think they did anything to move the needle when they have an asset or potentially 2 that could help move the needle. And there are trades being thrown all over the league where teams are making drastic moves, and the Pelicans just kind of sat back in the corner and went, we're good. Yeah, we may win 30 this year. It's like, really? And look, it doesn't mean that the offseason's over. Just because the draft's over, you can still move Trey Murphy. But I just thought there would be a little bit more oomph to this week, and it was just a whimper for the Pelicans. And that's a bit of a bummer because I'd really like them to ascend from the absolute bottom. And this just feels like a team that's destined to sit at the bottom for a little bit. And that's no fun. Look, we don't talk a lot of Pelicans on here, but this was relevant time of year to do so, especially considering that there's not a lot going on locally outside of them at this current juncture. And just kind of felt like a whimper for the Pelicans in the draft process. So Jaron Pierre from St. Aug, through 4 different colleges, now headed to the Pels to potentially help in the backcourt. maybe help out the team over in Birmingham. We'll see. That's it for hour number one here on this Thursday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. We're brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. We talked about LSU's transfer portal ads in baseball and what Kylie McDaniel thinks of them at the top of the show, and I kind of explained why that's an important distinction from last year. It just did not feel like that last year. You trusted Jay Johnson. You were riding the high of a second championship in 3 years, and you just assumed the next crop would be as good as the crop previously, and it just didn't work out that way. This crop feels better than that, and Kylie McDaniel explained that in his piece on ESPN.com. I walked you through that. Luke Johnson was here. Talked to a lot of special teams about the black and gold. Is Charlie Smith going to be the kicker? Have they shored up punting in free agency? Will Barryon Brown make the team? Is he going to be the punt and kickoff returner? How important is that to what the Saints want to do this coming season? We kicked all the way around with Luke. You can find that at Hunt on Saints. And then we looked at LSU's basketball schedule, and we know who they're going to play in the Southeastern Conference. Got a lot to get to in hour number two. We'll talk about what Will Wade had to say to Chris Blair. We'll preview the Tennessee Vols as well. Let us pause for SportsCenter. Back with hour two. That's coming up next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Boudreaux's Electrical Services. Boudreaux's Electrical Services. Neil and Melissa have been running Boudreaux's Electrical now for 40 years. Their son Justin is involved. I worked with Justin over at my house. He's phenomenal. The family's phenomenal. They're the local option for your Generac home standby generator. So if you want to make sure that you've got the peace of mind to know that your power's not going to go out, maybe you work at home, maybe you've got a newborn child or a new one on the way, and you can't have a really, really hot house when you got a little kiddo in there. You want to get that generator from Generac to make sure that your house is powered when that power goes out in your neighborhood. Boudreaux's Electrical can do it. Give them a call. 985-397-1562. That's 985-397-1562. Or in the Gonzales location, 225-300-9389. And have them come out and install that generator. They'll monitor it. They'll handle the maintenance on it. They'll make sure you're protected during storm season and all year round here in South Louisiana. It's Boudreaux's Electrical Services. They're online at boudreauxelectrical.com.
I'm Lawyer Locke Meredith. If you're battling an insurance company because of a wreck not your fault and they're not calling you back or being fair, whether you hire us at all, give us a call, 272-5555, or email Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates. You have nothing to lose.
Hello, I'm Collins Meredith. If you've been injured on the job, you likely have a workers' compensation claim, but you may also have a tort claim, which opens up significant recovery rights not normally available for a work injury. If this is you, call us or come see us at Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates.
Box combo for George. I see you, Luis. Food's on the way.
Please don't. Hey, you know you can use your hands, right?
Got those box combos for you. Raising Cane's chicken fingers. One love.
Hey everybody, Drew Brees here. Over the years, I've learned that the best teams are built on trust, preparation, and doing things the right way. That's one of the reasons I'm excited to announce that the Breeze Dream Foundation and I are partnering with Parish Construction and Roofing. Together, we are committed to helping families prepare for hurricane season. That's why Parish Construction and Roofing, the Breeze Dream Foundation, and WAFB are partnering to provide one capital area family with a brand new fortified roof. Visit WAFB.com/contest to enter the giveaway and view official rules and eligibility requirements. Because stronger homes build stronger communities.
Bayou Ford is taking $12,000 off MSRP on the new 2026 Ford F-150 trucks, plus the complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
At Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer, we know you deserve value when you purchase equipment. Right now, take advantage of the powerful 3025E tractor for just $297 a month, with 0% financing for 72 months. Tractor packages with a trailer also available. Whether you're tackling land, property, or projects, get your job done. Don't wait. This offer ends June 30th, 2026. Some restrictions apply. Visit sunequip.com or stop by a Sunshine location today.
As a business owner, you're always focused on how you can improve the bottom line. Well, when was the last time you shopped your insurance coverage? Insurance Network of Louisiana can help. If you're a business owner, let my friends at Insurance Network of Louisiana see if they can find you better coverage for less money. They always offer exceptional customer service and partner with only the best providers. So check them out online today at lainsurance.net.
it's Matt Moscona. Look, back pain can sideline you from the things you love. That's why I trust Dr. Kevin McCarthy and the team at the Spine Center of Louisiana. Dr. McCarthy doesn't just treat symptoms. He gets to the root of the problem. From advanced injection therapy to minimally invasive surgery.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. The Timberwolves, looking for years for a co-star to team with guard Anthony Edwards, got one courtesy of an NBA blockbuster trade. ESPN's Shams Charania reports Minnesota's acquiring LaMelo Ball and Josh Green from the Hornets for Naz Reid and a series of draft picks. T-Wolves core, 25-year-old winger Jaden Daniels, and its 24-year-old backcourt in Edwards and Ball. First Take host, Stephen A. Smith.
Well, number one, you can't dislike it. It's an elite backcourt. We have to remember that LaMelo averaged 20 this year, shooting 37% from three-point range. So the brother can score, but his gift is passing the basketball. And look who he's passing it to. A superstar, if ever there was one, in Ant-Man, Anthony Edwards.
Edwards, Ball, and Daniels all under contract through the 2028-2029 season. Free agent guard Kobe White intends to sign a 3-year, $74 million deal to return to Charlotte. He'd been a major priority for the team and now steps into a new starting role in the backcourt after the Ball trade. Team USA captain Christian Pulisic expected to return from a calf injury and play tonight against Turkey at the World Cup in the group stage finale.
Hey, it's Evan Cohen. Coming up Friday, the Wolves have gone all in to keep Anthony Edwards happy, but I'll tell you why the LaMelo Ball trade will backfire. It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
A magic beyond anything you could ever imagine.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Locking down the middle of the day.
You really think that's the best idea?
Live from the Raising Cane studio, this is Hunt Palmer.
It's quite a piece of work.
Hour 2, Thursday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge, brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. Working towards the weekend. Appreciate you hanging out with us here. We've got a lot to get to in this hour. We talked to Chris Blair yesterday, and Chris talked to us about the sit-down he had with Will Wade. That became live yesterday at 6 o'clock over on LSU Plus. So if you'd like to watch that, you can do so on LSU Plus. There's a free trial available there that you can check out. I had a chance to listen to it, and we're not going to play any of the sound from it because if you want to listen to it, you can certainly do that there. But I am going to give some opinion on a couple of matters that Will Wade discussed, but we'll do that in 15 minutes. Right now, I want to talk about an ESPN.com list because it surprised me a little bit and excited me a little bit, and I want to get your thoughts on that and kind of give you, as I was walking through it. You'll hear me say this a lot, but I want to set the stage for every segment that I do because not everybody listens every day, and sometimes some people consume things differently, whether it's on YouTube or whatever the case may be. Whenever I see a list like this, whether it's The Athletic or ESPN or CBS Sports or whoever puts it out, I think in my head about the local angle, what I think it's going to say, and then I'm interested to see if it proves me right or wrong. And ESPN ranked college football's best defensive players for 2026. And I thought about that, and I said, okay, let me think about LSU. And I started up front, and I thought, okay, Prince William Unmielen could be on that list. Backed up to linebacker, could absolutely see TJ Daugherty, who led the SEC in tackles, or Whit Weeks, who is a more household name, be on that list. I went to corner. DJ Pickett, I think, has garnered some respect nationally. Went back to secondary and safety, and I think Ty Benefield makes some sense as a guy that we feel good about. But I wasn't 100% certain who might make the list or just how highly guys could be thought of. And so I thought, okay, well, I'll go ahead and I'll go 1, 2, 3 in my head who I think the most likely players to be high on this list are from LSU. I put Prince William Unmielen first because he produced at a high level on a national semifinal team, big sack numbers. That's a flashy statistic. He's number 1 on my list. 2, I put Whit Weeks. He's famous. He's been in the league now for 3 years. He had a 100-tackle season 2 years ago. I put him second. And DJ Pickett, I put third. Famous recruit, 5-star player, had some interceptions last year, was the National Freshman of the Year defensively on 3. Those are my top 3. And I was wrong. Because there is an LSU player on this list at number 6, the 6th best defensive player in college football, according to ESPN.com, and he was not in my top 3. It's Ty Benefield. Now, look, I have said on the air that I feel like Ty Benefield could be the best player on the defense. So I'm not stunned by this. However, I've watched Ty Benefield practice at LSU a little bit, and we have our ear to the ground in Baton Rouge a little bit closer than every national guy who's covering, 60 programs in depth. So for Ty Benefield to be listed 6, that's saying something. And this comes from personnel experts that ESPN surveyed, and they said they absolutely raved about Benefield and expect him to be one of the most impactful transfers in the country. There are some quotes in here from anonymous sources that ESPN pulled in putting this together. An ACC general manager said, "We've heard he's an absolute freak and was the best player on the field this spring." An ACC GM said that. An SEC defensive personnel person added, "LSU's best defensive player is their safety." This is some high praise that's percolating through the college football world. Last year, Benefield played over 1,000 snaps. He was all Mountain West. He is 6'3", 208 pounds. In 3 years, 235 tackles, 18 TFLs, 16 pass breakups, 5 interceptions. Nobody in the Mountain West has played more snaps over the last 2 years, and he's also played 366 on special teams. So you're talking about a guy who impacts the game at a lot of different levels. Defensively, he makes a lot of tackles. He makes plays in the backfield. He breaks up passes down the field. He makes plays on the ball for interceptions. And he also contributes on special teams. His size is of no concern. He's big and rangy. That was one of the things that automatically stood out when we went to the first spring practice last year. They didn't even have shoulder pads on. It was shorts, jerseys, and helmets. And you could go out there, and I know how big Deshaun Spears is. I know how big he was when he was a recruit. I know what he looks like on an SEC football field. And Ty Benefield is every bit as big as Deshaun Spears. He looks like Spears. He looks like Eric Reed. He looks like those big physical safeties that LSU has had, and his production matches that. And the frame doesn't match this at all, but the production and career arc does. This feels like A.J. Halsey, and you saw what he did for LSU last year in Blake Baker's defense with Jake Olson as his position coach. This is a guy who it is now not reaching. It's realistic to believe that this could be an All-American at LSU. I didn't say it's a lock, but I think he's got a chance. And I keep alluding to this because it is June, and this is kind of where my mind is right now. I'm not locked in on the Clemson game plan today. That's not where I am. I am interested in the feedback when we go to SEC Media Days. It doesn't mean anything. I'm just curious. I know people will know Prince William Miellen. I know they will know Whit Weeks. I know they will know TJ Daugherty. I know they will know DJ Pickett. There will be some that know Dominic McKinley. There will be some that know Malik Blockton from his SEC roots. I'm curious how many people are aware of Ty Benefield there. The Cole Kubelicks certainly will be. Are the other guys? I'm fascinated by that because we're going to be hyping this guy up. I remember very, very vividly, and this is a different deal because this was a freshman that LSU developed, and this is a transfer they're bringing in, but I remember this very vividly. I went on a South Carolina show the week of the Clemson game last year. It was not in Clemson. It was somewhere in a different part of the state. But I went on, and I was asked about a player that maybe Clemson hadn't focused on. That, not the the team, not Dabo and the coaching staff, the fan base. And I said, yeah, there's a guy that not a lot of people know about, but they will, and he's a problem. His name's Trey'Dez Green, and I went through the whole spiel. And lo and behold, Trey'Dez Green draws a pass interference, gets LSU down to the 1-yard line for a touchdown, and then catches a fade for a second touchdown. And I got contacted by that radio station via Twitter and via text, like, oh, yeah, that was a pretty good call. And I'm not tooting my own horn there. I'm just saying we know things about LSU football that people outside of this little Baton Rouge bubble don't know. And so when you see that the Ty Benefield buzz has gotten to the national perspective as the 6th best player in college football defensively at this point in the calendar, you know that buzz is real. And I think he's going to be a star. Not the position, the stature in the sport. I think Deshaun Spears will play the star. But this guy is going to be a difference maker for LSU at safety, and it's exciting that they were able to land this guy. Lane Kiffin was on this early. He mentioned it early in press conferences. They brought him in very early in the portal cycle. They realized they had to have him. And you pair him with some really talented guys on the back end, with TaMarcus Cooley, with Deshaun Spears, with Pickett, with Woodland. I think you've got a real athletic, real rangy secondary. That's one of the things I like about LSU secondary. Pickett at 6'5", Benefield at 6'3", Spears at 6'2", 6'3". It's a rangy group. PJ Woodland's got long arms. I like LSU's secondary, and Ty Benefield is a huge, huge, huge part of that. So we're off and running here in hour number 2 of Thursday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. When we come back, Will Wade sat down with Chris Blair last week. They aired it last night, and there are a couple of points that he made that I want to drill down on a little bit. We'll do that when we come back.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Duvall and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. I had a chance to sit down with David Duvall yesterday, and this may sound crazy because it's June and it's 100 degrees. But if you are having a big Christmas gift together and you do want to have a lot of folks upstairs in the house, but you're not real sure that the bathrooms are ready to handle that, now's a good time to make a phone call because the fall gets busy. Kids are in school, your routine gets ramped up, and then all of a sudden you look up and it's Halloween. You don't have time to get things done by Christmas. It's something that David and his team find every summer, that, yeah, I got a big crew coming in for Christmas this year. We got to get some work done in the bathroom. Because the last thing you want to do is have 2 bathrooms out of order while you've got a big family gathering going on. Also, if you're a husband walking around, driving around, listening to me, and the wife's been kind of on you, hey, we got to do this in the bathroom, and it's just not a priority for you, but it is for her, and you realize that that's going to trickle over to you eventually, One Bath and Closets needs to be the phone call you make. Contact David Duvall. He'll do it right the first time and leave the competition behind. He's had over 3 decades of experience. He knows what he's looking at. He knows what he's doing. He can absolutely customize something in the bathroom or the closet for you. Get that free consultation. Just sit down with David, you, your wife, husband, and chat through it. It's One Bath and Closets. Find them online at onebathandclosets.com.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Huh. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Bayou Ford is taking $12,000 off MSRP on the new 2026 Ford F-150 trucks, plus the complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here. We eat out here. We watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized. It'll be time efficient, and you will have your pool in no time.
I'm Gabrielle McLeod on behalf of the Louisiana Propane Dealers. I have spent hundreds of hours preparing for scholarship competitions. That preparation paid off when I won the Fitness and Talent Awards along with the title of Miss Louisiana. The Louisiana Propane Dealers are also pretty talented and want you to be prepared for when the power goes out. Visit louisianapropane.com to find out about propane generators and other safety tips. Louisiana Propane, it truly is the fuel for our future.
After a decade of working in private duty nursing, I know how hard it can be to find compassionate care for the ones that you love the most. So I started Decision Critical, a premier concierge nursing agency, so we can take care of you wherever you are. Our highly skilled nurses provide exceptional care from the comfort of your own home with personalized packages for short-term, long-term, or even around-the-clock care. Visit us at Decision Critical BR.
Brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
So, as I mentioned a couple times in the last segment, Chris Blair sat down with Will Wade for about a 22-minute interview, as you can find in its entirety at LSU Plus. I'm not going to play the sound from it. You can go check that out if you want to. It's a great sit-down. Will is as usual, very candid, very open. You can make your jokes about that when legal situations are at play, but if you know Will Wade at all and you've listened to him in press conferences, he is certainly not afraid to suggest his team did something poorly, to talk about whether or not his team's playing hard, whether or not his team's playing well, and to open up about certain strategies that they have. He's talked about his scheduling and the folks that he contracts out from out west that put together some teams that would be good for him to put on the schedule so that the metrics look good at the end. He's talked about best ways to keep guys healthy and charting what foot players land on at practice more often than not. Like the level of detail that he goes into in a lot of answers in press conferences and discussions is really above and beyond what most coaches will do. And I think you'll find that in the sit down that Chris Blair had with Will Wade last week that's they're live now online. There are a couple things I wanted to talk about that one is important, one is not all that important, but that caught my attention. And the first one that's not all that important to you, the LSU fan, but is an interesting behind-the-curtain look at Will Wade, is he talked about winning at LSU as opposed to winning somewhere else. And what he mentioned was winning with your friends and your people. What he said was, we can take our program anywhere and we can win. And he's proven that. He won at VCU. He won at Chattanooga. He won at LSU. He won at McNeese. And he got to the tournament in year one at NC State. He can win just about anywhere. But the relationships he built in his time in Louisiana, which amounts to about a decade if you look at LSU and McNeese combined, are attractive to him in terms of the quality of his life professionally. And again, this is not important to you, the LSU fan, but I thought it was interesting. And there's an element of this, of course, that has to do with finances. He knows people here with money. Monday night's event at the Supper Club is an evidence of that. It's a little bit more difficult to talk to people you don't know very well and get north of $2 million extracted in a 2-hour dinner. And he did that on Monday, according to reports from Matt. He knows people with money here, and that's a big deal in this era. but he also just likes the people here. That's evidenced in the fact that he was fired from here while Verge Osbury was in the athletic department. Verge Osbury now runs the athletic department, and Will Wade came back and did so in a fashion that was pretty messy in Raleigh, North Carolina. You're trying to get ready to play a play-in game in the NCAA tournament, and you're answering press conference questions about leaving and kind of eschewing those questions. Like, it was uncomfortable. He could have shut that all down. So, no, I'll be at North Carolina State and stay at North Carolina State. But the drawback to LSU was just more than he was willing to turn down. And I think that's interesting. He made it clear in his press conference, but he doubled down on it. And this was more about the friends that he's met along the way, both in Baton Rouge and in Lake Charles. I think that's interesting. Now, this next part is important. That part's not. This is. It's about the European players. And this is all going to get cleared up here with the 5 for 5 that got put into place this week. But for this year, it's not as contained and boxed up neatly. There are some loopholes, if you want to call it that LSU is able to run through to get players to play on this roster. And I have fought with it personally. Not professionally, personally. About going to get 26-year-olds to run the point and going overseas to get a bunch of guys who will be here for 8 months to play basketball and then leave. About getting a guy to try to come in to play who was the Big East Player of the Year, but then is part of 2 NBA organizations to come back. Like, I have struggled with that personally because it doesn't feel like the spirit of what we're trying to do. And I've also, the reason I struggle with it is because I feel like we just got the schedule. They're going to Auburn this year. They're going to Rupp this year. When I watch that game on television and there's a team out there in purple and gold, at that point, I don't need a birth certificate. I don't need to know what language he speaks first. I don't need to know how much he made in the Italian league. I don't need to know whether or not he is properly enrolled in school. Like, when they tip the ball off, I'm probably not going to care. That's just me. That's the way I'm wired when LSU plays sports. I wrestle with it 6 months out based on what the rules say. That's my personal feeling. And then here's what Will Wade said to Chris Blair yesterday. He said, you're not going to be able to do this with the European guys forever. They're going to put a stop to that. However, there are European guys playing for just about every team in the country. And, I mean, LSU had one last year. He didn't play very much, but you brought in Ron Zipper from overseas where he had played pro basketball. Just about everybody has them. And he called it a market inefficiency. That there are better players that are more prepared to help you win college basketball games in Italy than there are in the AAU circle at Peach Jam in Atlanta. There are better players. And some schools aren't willing to go over there and recruit them. I am. It's a market inefficiency. I have a faster track to some better players than others because I'm willing to go do that and fight the battles here. And while I still don't feel awesome about a 26-year-old point guard who's played 7 years of pro basketball and a 2-time NBA organization member playing for LSU and don't even know that they will be eligible to do so, I do appreciate LSU's head coach, especially in basketball, willing to find any market efficiency he possibly can. Because let's be completely candid about this from an LSU basketball perspective. If you try to run this race exactly the way it's been run for 30 years here in Baton Rouge, the results aren't very good. If you continue to go get 3-star kids from Mobile and transfers from Cal Bakersfield and projects who are 6'10", but they had offers from Southern Miss, Rice, and UTEP, and that's what you try to win with, you're not going to win. You're not going to win. You will not win here. I've watched winners here that went out and found NBA players. Johnny Jones got Ben Simmons. Johnny Jones got Skylar Mays. Johnny Jones got Jarrell Martin. He got pros. Jordan Mickey. And they got to the tournament. And they had a chance to win. Will Wade had pros. He went and got Tremont Waters. He went and got Trendon Watford. He went and got Cam Thomas. He went and got Naz Reid. He got pros. He got Tari Easton out of the portal in its infancy. And at LSU, right now, you've got an assembly center that's empty. It's one of the lesser basketball facilities in the country. You've got a football program that's eaten a monster share of rev share. You've got a baseball program that's prying in for its share. You've got a women's basketball program that's prying in for its share. You are fighting for scraps at LSU men's basketball. And while I don't feel super awesome about the two guys I'm mentioning that feel not in the spirit of the rules, I do feel awesome that the basketball coach at LSU is willing to say, I got to do things a little bit differently to win here. Let's go. Whatever it takes, I'm going to go do it. He did it at the time previously, and he's doing it again. And I get this all the time from non-LSU fans. From people that love LSU, I don't really get this that much. Some, but not a lot. From people that don't love LSU, I get this a lot. Aren't you embarrassed by the last time? Let me spell this out for you very clearly. N-O. No, I'm not embarrassed. Why? North Carolina went on probation. Kansas got in trouble. Arizona's in hot water. Auburn got in trouble. All these programs are at the top of the sport. Got investigated. Gotten tied to this kind of stuff. You think Duke's clean? Come on. John Calipari, they tear down banners every place he goes because of stuff that's going on. I like LSU to play by those rules. No more of the 3-star kid from Jackson, Mississippi. Don't need the transfer who averaged 4 a game for Northern Iowa. Let's go. So that's where I went with the sentiment from Will Wade. He said, this is a market inefficiency. It won't be there forever, but right now, this is how we put the best product on the floor. And I still have feelings about it at this point in the calendar. The fact of the matter is that when they tip it off, when they play Houston and Gonzaga and Alabama and Kentucky and Florida and Tennessee, I want them to be as good as they can be. And Will Wade's going to make every effort to make that happen. And he's happy here, and there aren't a lot of schools around the country that are going to want to hire him. And it feels like, to me, the likely scenario here, not the lock, the likely scenario here, is that LSU's got a basketball coach that's going to make things relatively fun around here from Christmas to middle of March way more often than he's not. And guess what? I've lived here for 19 years. I'll take it. Because for most of the 19 years, that has not been the case. I can still hold those 2 points of view. I'm a little uncomfortable with this reach, but I like the big picture. And that's what I gathered from Will's conversation with Chris Blair that aired yet last night. That, yeah, this may not be the shiniest thing to do, but it's just proof that he's willing to go the extra mile to make LSU basketball relevant and potentially great. It's usually not, so I'll take it. Thursday show is brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. We will step aside. When we come back, LSU's headed to Knoxville. It has been a minute since LSU went to Knoxville, Tennessee. We'll talk about Josh Heupel's Vols next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Love telling you about my friends over at Ochsner. Look, whether you're an athlete or just trying to stay active, Ochsner Rangers Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute can help get you moving and keep you moving. You got access at Ochsner to the highest levels of specialized care, nationally renowned expertise, the latest equipment, and modern facilities, and one of those is obviously the Elite Training Complex on Burbank. It's located right there on Burbank when you need care fast. They got on-site x-rays, so if you've got sprains, strains, minor dislocations, sports injuries, including ACL tears, you can walk in without an appointment. They want to get you back to healing and back to doing what you love. Learn more at ochsner.org/brortho, ochsner.org/brortho.
Eagle 98.1, the rock station. Home of the Woody Show in the morning. Scotty Mack with Rock at Work. Michelle Southern with Southern Rock. Home of LSU sports since 1998. And rock for Baton Rouge since 1985. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. To join our VIP fan club, text ROCK to 225-499-9898. Eagle 98.1, the rock station.
Sometimes you ignore the signs, even when they're right in front of you. Problem gambling isn't always easy to spot. Know the signs. Set your limit. Learn more about healthy gambling habits by visiting us online or text or call for free confidential help now.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. And when you're cooking with clean, affordable propane, you're cooking with gas. In the wintertime, nothing heats a home like Louisiana propane. And when you need hot water, propane's got you covered. Oh, and you won't regret that propane generator when the power goes out. I'm Miss Louisiana, Gabrielle McLeod, and to find more information and to find a propane dealer near you, visit louisianapropane.com.
The experts at Hood Dental Care want you smiling bigger and healthier than ever. New patients can get a healthy gums cleaning for just $89, plus a free exam and full mouth x-rays. A $376 value. With over 3,000 five-star Google reviews, 5 local locations, and easy online scheduling with same-day care. Hood Dental makes it simple to get started. And we always have other great giveaways for new patients. Check out hooddentalcare.com and schedule your appointment today.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
Shout out to my friends at Gotros Outdoor Power. They're online at gotrosonline.com. Family owned and operated, 22 years in business, Baton Rouge and Gonzales. Gotro family is awesome to work with. If you're looking for a new zero-turn mower, there's no other place to go. Like, you can certainly buy a zero-turn mower from one of the big box stores, but do you ever hear from them again? What's the customer service like? At Gotros Outdoor Power, they're going to take care of you. If you buy one of their Hustler products, you need a trailer to get it home, they got one for you. If you've got an issue and need a part, they got the largest parts inventory in the state, and they got trucks on the road 8 hours a day. They can get that part to you. You got a local team that's here to help you in the buying process and after the sale. That's the difference in working with a local company like Gotros Outdoor Power. Don't mistake local for small. National Hustler Deal of the Year 2 of the last 3 years, and the biggest Hustler inventory in the state by a long shot. Plus, the biggest parts inventory in the state. Awesome people, awesome products, fantastic deals that you can get in the month of June. Go by and see them at Gotros Outdoor Power. They've got their own extended warranty. Gotros is the warrantor. You can add 2 years or 200 hours to the manufacturer's warranty at Gotros Outdoor Power. Go by and see them on Airline Highway in Baton Rouge or in Gonzales. Gotros Outdoor Power. Okay, let's talk about the Tennessee Vols. Do y'all know the last time that LSU went to Tennessee? I shudder to think how old the two people behind the glass were for that game. 2017 was the last time that LSU went to Tennessee. It was the monsoon game that Ed Ogeron coached there. LSU won it by 20. Tennessee was still in their decades of misery post Phil Fulmer. But that's the last time LSU went to Knoxville. It's a great trip, by the way. If you've never been, Calhoun's on the River is a great spot. It's kind of like walk-ons for them. It's a sports bar. They got great food, and you're on the water right outside the stadium. Great spot. They got steakhouses, barbecue restaurants there. They got some nice hotels. The stadium is kind of looks like an erector set in some ways, but it is really big, and it's on the river there, the Tennessee River, which is really nice. Good trip. You should make it if you're an LSU fan this year, but if you are an LSU fan, you had a chance to make it since 2017, so you finally get a chance to go back to Knoxville. And it's crazy because this was such a huge story when Lane Kiffin went back to Knoxville the first time as the head coach of Ole Miss. It was in 2021, and they, of course, threw bottles at him. They threw the mustard bottle at him. They threw golf balls. Like, it was a bad scene. It was an infamous scene. And that's going to happen again this year, and no one's talking about it at all because Oxford is going to be way worse. It's like the Seinfeld episode where Elaine can't figure out what's wrong with her boyfriend. People have this terrible thought on him, and she thinks he's great. And it's like, well, why? Well, and then she finds out that he's a bad breaker-upper. You don't know it's bad until it's over. That's when he calls her big head. And then, they get into it. So it's like, that's Lane Kiffin. He's a bad breaker-upper. And you're going back to both places that he's broken up with an ex-employer. And this will be the second one, and I don't think anybody's really focused on it. But as far as the football goes, Tennessee has got to run the football. And they didn't do it as well last year. In 2024, they made the college football playoff. They led the SEC in rushing yards, 5 yards a carry. They went 10-2. They were a great running team. And last year, they dropped to 7th in the SEC and finished 8-4. When you think Heupel, people probably think high-flying, deep balls, fast-paced, but they want to run the ball. And even though the 2022 team, with Hendon Hooker at the helm, that was so good until he got hurt and they got smashed by South Carolina, that team threw it way better than they ran it, but they also ran for 40 touchdowns. That was second best in the SEC. Like, they were 8th in the SEC in low yards per carry, but they scored touchdowns running the ball. And Hooker was good enough through the air that carried a really high-flying offense. They got to get back to running the ball. I don't know if they will. Deshaun Bishop was a former walk-on. He was a second-team All-SEC player last year. He's going to be probably their lead back. They went and got Javin Gordon from Tulane. He started 6 games for them as a freshman last year, but they don't necessarily have that bell cow NFL tailback that you would like to have. But they're going to try to run it, and that's going to be a big, big key to what Tennessee is this year offensively. Now, one thing that's interesting about their schedule for Tennessee, and this doesn't have anything to do with the LSU-Tennessee game, but it does have to do with this Tennessee team and maybe what they're playing for when LSU goes. Because keep in mind, LSU goes to Knoxville the week before Thanksgiving. They go to Knoxville when the rest of the SEC is playing Renowinds. It's the second to last game of the season. So there could be some real stakes at play here. And Tennessee has righted some wrongs under Josh Heupel with rivals. They've won 3 out of 4 against Florida. That is rarefied air. They had lost 16 of 17 before that. 16 of 17. Tennessee had lost to Florida. Now they've won 3 of 4. So they've righted that. Bama owned them, won 15 in a row under Saban. But Tennessee's beaten Alabama in Knoxville the last 2 times, and they get them in Knoxville this year. So they've righted the Florida and Alabama wrongs. Georgia is the problem. Georgia has won 14 of 16 over Tennessee. But guess what? Georgia's not on the schedule this year. In the new 9-game format, Georgia rolls off. So Tennessee does have to go on the road a lot. They play 5 league road games and a non-conference road game. They've got to go to Texas A&M. That's going to be hard. They got to go to Arkansas. They got to go to South Carolina. They got to go to Kentucky. They got to go to Vanderbilt. And they've also got to go to Georgia Tech. But those are manageable. At Arkansas is manageable. At South Carolina is manageable. At Kentucky is manageable. At Vanderbilt is manageable. At Georgia Tech is manageable. At A&M is going to be tough. What they've got to do is hold serve at home. That's what Tennessee's got to do, and it's going to be tough. Texas comes, Bama comes, LSU comes. Also Auburn, I'm not really putting them in that category. But it's a home-heavy schedule for Tennessee in terms of the opponents. It's a road-heavy schedule in terms of the number of times they play away from Neyland. People in Knoxville are looking for Josh Heupel to take another step. The furthest Josh Heupel has brought this program thus far is to hold your own with Bama, hold your own with Florida, get to the college football playoff. Like, that is a mouthful, and that's, if you would have told any Tennessee fan when Heupel went to the podium for his opening remarks at his press conference and said he'd been hired, and said he's going to turn it around and beat Bama 2 times in a row in Knoxville, he's going to win 3 out of 4 against Florida, he's going to snap y'all's streak in the swamp, and he's going to make the college football playoff, Tennessee fans would have said, where do I sign this? This is awesome. But now that that's a little bit in the rearview mirror, it's like, okay, you did that. What's next? Because when they went to the college football playoff, they went to Columbus, and now they played a great Ohio State team, but they got smashed. Got smashed in Columbus. So where's the next step? Is this a team that does it? I have my doubts, but the one thing I like about Josh Heupel's team, and you will hear me say this in Tampa when we do media days, at least I know that Tennessee will have an identity. At least I know when they show up, they're tough to game plan for because of the tempo that they use. Their quarterbacks have been productive. He even got Joe Milton to play decent. But you've had productive quarterbacks. Whatever happened with Nico happened. Aguilar was fine. Hooker was a star. But they're going to run that tempo, and they're going to be pretty good on offense. They got to run the ball. They got to play better on defense, and they've got to hold their own against big-name opponents. I don't know that I'm betting on Tennessee this year. I bet against them last year. They went 8-4. That's kind of what I thought they would be. I didn't think they'd be very good, and they weren't. That's one of the few ones I got right. But they're fascinating, no question. And LSU will go to Knoxville the second to last weekend of November, right before Thanksgiving, in probably a cold weather environment. Got to go out there and find a way to win a ball game. But Tennessee is a tough place to play. LSU just hadn't found that out since 2017. It's been a minute. I was there in 2011 for LSU and Tennessee. I was there in 2006 for LSU and Tennessee. A couple of LSU wins. I like Knoxville. I like the trip. If you're a Tiger fan looking to make a trip for a road game this fall, I think Knoxville will be a pretty good one if you've got a winter jacket to bring, because it might be a little bit chilly up there on the Tennessee River in November. That's a look at the Vols as we go through LSU's entire schedule one by one. We'll do Arkansas tomorrow to kind of wrap that. And then my in-depth chart piece is going to start on LouisianaSports.net. I'm going to go into every single position on the roster with a look at who's there, what we know about them, and my projection for that spot on the roster. That starts on LouisianaSports.net on Saturday morning. One more piece on LSU's schedule with Arkansas tomorrow. All right. Let's close out the show next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Marucci, join the Hitter's House. Become a member of the Hitter's House over at Marucci. You got a youth baseball player, youth softball player in your house that wants to work on his or her game, but you don't have the space in the yard, or it's too wet outside, or it's too hot outside. Join the Hitter's House. Get that access into the Hitter's House 24/7 with that key card. And you can get access to the batting cages. You can get access to the pitcher's mound. Work on your game all summer long. What a great gift to that youth baseball or softball player in your house to become a member at Marucci. Go to MarucciSports.com. You can buy tickets to the campus tour and see Marucci for your own eyes. See where they make the official bat of Major League Baseball. See where they make 1,300 of them every single day. And, of course, be a member of the Hitter's House as well. It's the Hitter's House, and it's all there at Marucci.
Transform your living space with Lacoste & Young Remodeling and take your home from outdated to outstanding. Redefine your kitchen for the ultimate culinary experience, or elevate your daily routine with a spa-worthy bathroom retreat. Our skilled team brings 3D modeling to life to ensure your vision becomes a reality. We believe luxury should be accessible and offer tailored solutions to fit your budget without compromising quality. So contact us today for a free estimate. Lacoste & Young Remodeling, providing perfect solutions for your dream home.
Bayou Ford is taking $12,000 off MSRP on the new 2026 Ford F-150 trucks, plus the complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
At Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer, we know you deserve value when you purchase equipment. Right now, take advantage of the powerful 3025E tractor for just $297 a month, with 0% financing for 72 months. Tractor packages with a trailer also available. Whether you're tackling land, property, or projects, get your job done. Don't wait. This offer ends June 30th, 2026. Some restrictions apply. Visit sunequip.com or stop by a Sunshine location today.
Sometimes you ignore the signs, even when they're right in front of you. Problem gambling isn't always easy to spot. Know the signs, set your limit. Learn more about healthy gambling habits by visiting us online or text or call for free, confidential help now.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. Propane water heaters are very cost efficient, and the savings are even greater with a tankless propane water heater. We all know that Louisiana propane is a safe and environmentally friendly fuel. So why not go green while you save some green? I miss Louisiana.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
I'm sure you've noticed the price of beef wherever it is that you pick that up weekly, climbing, and you feel like you're paying a premium price. Are you getting a premium product? Maybe not. Herd levels are very, very low right now. That's put a crunch on demand with a lower supply, and prices have reflected that. When you buy that beef, do you know if it's been treated improperly with antibiotics? Do you know if steroids have been injected? Do you know how many DNA are in that 1 pound pack of ground beef that you picked up? Do you know? The answer is probably no. If you go to Sagrera Farms, you know there's no steroids. You know there's no improper use of antibiotics. You know where that came from, and there's one DNA in the beef that you bring home, and it's prime every single time. If you're paying for prime and getting substandard product, why? Go to Sagrera Farms. Go to Sean Sagrera. Make sure that the ground beef you use every night is prime. When you go to put steaks on the grill, summer heat, burgers, prime. Fillets, ribeyes, strips, skirts, flanks, picanha, chuck roast, brisket. It's the best of the best. Some of the top 1% of the beef nationally. Sean Sagrera has it at Sagrera Farms. Well, how do I get in touch with him? Well, there's only two places you can get Sagrera Farms beef. You can go to Supper Club and see if they have any left, or you can go to Sagrera Farms and contact my guy Sean Sagrera and put a whole cow in your freezer. Or split it between 5 people. Get half a cow, get a quarter. You can do that at Sagrera Farms, and you're promised to have prime Angus beef. So give Sean a call. I give you his number every single week. 225-719-1723. That's 225-719-1723. Say, I heard about your stuff on Hunt's show. Love to talk to you about it. Let's get a cow. He'd love to help you. It's Sagrera Farms, premium Angus beef. They bring you our Thursday shows each and every week. All right, we're closing in on the finish line here on this Thursday. I'm about ready to check out of town. We got one more week to go here before we hit the road as a family to the beach. Looking forward to that. I'll be out next week, and it's been kind of it's the way the last week before vacation goes. it can be a little slow. And this one's featured a sick kid and a bum car and lots of things that have gone on. But we're going to get to the finish line and we're going to get to the beach. But I got one more day for you. We got 2 hours. We'll talk to Preston Guy about some LSU recruiting tomorrow. I anticipate some movement in the baseball transfer portal over the next 48 hours. So I'll talk about that on tomorrow's show as well. So we'll have plenty to do on tomorrow's show, and looking forward to that to kind of close the week out and get me out of here for a little bit. But we still have one more order of business today, and let's take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
Just take it. All right, so Cade Anderson has had an astounding season so far for the Seattle Mariners AA team, Arkansas Travelers. He is currently 7-0 with a 1.02 ERA, pitched 61 innings with 90 strikeouts. The third overall pick in the 2025 MLB draft has not disappointed at all. However, he has not been called up yet. Is he well-deserving of a call-up to the majors? Take it or leave it.
I mean, I would take it. He's deserving of a call-up. He would get outs out of the bullpen right now for the Mariners, and he might be able to help them in the rotation right now. I would think that as well. But I'm looking at the MLB standings here, and you look out west in the American League, and Seattle has got a 2-game lead on the Astros, so they're not in a hurry here to get things done. That lead actually was 4 as of 2 days ago. Now, that's not a huge lead, but the Mariners are not hurting. They will, however, be in the race. They're 44-44. They're the best team in their division, and I think they will call him up by the end of July. It may be in a relief role, but if somebody gets hurt in their rotation, he's obviously the next one up.
It said most likely by the end of summer. So.
Yeah, so he'll be up at some point this year. He keeps things up and stays healthy, and we'd love to see that.
So the NFL came out with power rankings ranked 1 through 8 of teams that have the best chance to go from worst to first this season.
Okay.
The Saints are second on the list, with the reasoning of a wide open division after Carolina winning. Crazy, I forgot they won it. With just an 8-9 record. Shuck having a strong end to the season. So will the Saints prove this? Take it or leave it.
I'll take it. I mean, you look at the teams, the Lions, I think, are on that list,
Yeah, Lions
right?
are first,
I mean,
yes.
of course, and that's a tough division.
Yeah.
And you look at some of the other teams that were bottom feeders that are still probably considered bottom feeders. I don't think the Browns are going to make some sort of awesome move here. I don't think the Cardinals are in a position to make a great
either. I don't even think the Raiders.
Yeah, so, like, you're looking at a bunch of teams that still look bad, and there are teams in their division that are really good. Like, to be first, the Cardinals are going to have to overtake the Seahawks.
Right.
The Saints have to overtake the Bucks. Like, I think that's pretty doable. No, sorry, the Panthers. So I think that's a little bit more doable. I think the Saints I think making them second is exactly right.
All right, so the World Cup is being hosted by 16 cities around the United States. And 2 of them are Houston and Dallas. Being such a huge soccer and World Cup fan you are, Hunt.
Yes.
Is there a possibility that you could be attending a World Cup match? Take it or leave it.
I will leave that. Here's the way it can be done. You would have to get me a ticket, a pretty good ticket, and probably arrange my transportation.
Okay.
I would be open to going. I'm not paying $10 to go see the World Cup, and I'd like someone to fly me or drive me there. But I would go. If they were playing Tiger Stadium and I got a free ticket, I would go. But okay. I don't have any interest in going to see Uruguay and Puerto Rico or whatever. Whatever. It's just not my deal.
Only if it's free.
If it's free, I'm in.
Yeah.
It'd be better if you bought my drinks too. My buddy's been to 4. He's been to 4
Really?
Houston games.
Okay.
He goes a lot, but it's just not in my bag.
Have you seen the prices?
No. I can only imagine.
Yeah.
I mean, whole countries are coming over here.
Right.
So you would imagine the demand's outrageous. I have a take. Maybe it's bad. Probably bad take. Is the World Cup too big? Like, it's like 4 weeks. No, sorry, it's like 6 weeks.
Really?
It's like,
I had no idea how long it was.
I mean, the USA plays again tonight. That's 3 weeks, and they haven't even gotten to the knockout round yet.
Right.
So you got to play at least 3 more. It's 6 weeks. That's a long time for a tournament.
I think
we need
it was
to cut the amount of teams.
64 countries.
Do we need 64 countries? What if we cut that to 32?
I think it's at 32 right now, which is the start of the knockout.
What if we turned it to 16? That's what we need. 16. There's too many teams. It's too long.
Give me a game prediction for tonight. USA versus Turkey at 7.
Well,
Who you got?
I've got Turkey because are we even trying? It doesn't matter, right? We're going to
Turkey's actually 0-2. We're 2-0.
Right, but we're locked in as the 1 seed in our group. We can get nothing out of this game. So I'll take Turkey and hope we win. Who cares? I do like the fact they're playing a game that doesn't matter. That allows the soccer fans to enjoy the game Have some drinks if you want. Have some food if you want. No stress. Enjoy watching the USA. You don't get to do that a lot. And you don't have to be stressed out about losing. And then next time they play, you'll be real stressed out about them losing. And so you can ramp up to that. I like the environment around this game where it doesn't matter.
It brings college football vibes, in my opinion, with all the different countries, and they're still more passionate about it than us. And it's kind of cool. You get to see a bunch of celebrations and
6 weeks. We need that. We need 6 weeks.
I don't think 6 weeks, maybe a month at most, but it's really cutting it close. But that's it. We'll take it or leave it.
All right, that's it for Take It or Leave It here on this Thursday. We've run through a lot of ground here on this show. We started with Kylie McDaniel's ranking of LSU baseball's portal prospects. He likes them as professional draft picks, and that's a change of pace from last year. If you want to hear that, go back to the top of the show today. Luke Johnson, we talked special teams with Luke. Talked Saints kicking competition for field goals, how well they've shored up the punter position, whether or not Barrion Brown is a lock for the roster as a returner. All that is at Hunt on Saints, wherever you find your podcast, of course, on YouTube as well. We know who LSU basketball will play on their schedule in conference play. I discussed that at 1:30 and did a little bit more on Will Wade's sit-down with Chris Blair at 2:15. ESPN has Ty Benefield as the number 6 defensive player in college football this fall. I discussed that. You can find it at Hunt on LSU, wherever you find podcasts, or, of course, on YouTube. Plus, broke down LSU's second-to-last opponent of the season, the Tennessee Vols. Thank you all so much for subscribing up to the channel. Just click Hunt Palmer Show. Like and subscribe. We always appreciate that. Matt's going to drive you home next on After Further Review. We're back tomorrow.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
First, let me tell you about Fabry Chevrolet GMC, FabryChevrolet.com, FabryChevrolet.com. Incredible deals in the month of June on those trucks. Get on by and see 2026 Chevy Silverados at 0% APR financing for 36 months now until the end of the month. Incredible deal. You can get a 2026 GMC Sierra 1500, only 2.9% financing for 72 months now until the end of the month. Get on by. As you know, it's the 25th. That means the month is coming up on the end. If you want to get behind the wheel of a Chevy Trax, maybe a Chevy Trailblazer, you can do that for as low as $30,000 at Fabry Chevrolet GMC. Go by and see them on Highway 61 in St. Francisville. Unbelievable customer service, great buying experience, as well as service after the sale. You can also see the entire inventory online at FabryChevrolet.com. Check out that entire inventory online. It's right there at FabryChevrolet.com.
When it comes to industrial